How's it going, folks? It's Rob and Ahanu here, son-in-law / mayor's partner, and today we're going to finish off the organic aquaponics. It's basically floating a raft on a dam that's got fish, crayfish and mollusks in it, just to see how we're going to go. One thing we have had to do though is we have had to work out some sort of protection for the feathered and furred variety that might like to snack on our greens. But anyway, enough rambling on, let's get into it. So seeing as I just broke the only pair of scissors we have, Ahanu's just going up to grab another pair of scissors, but I'll give you a bit of a run through on what we're working with today. Now the raft obviously needs some protection, and what I've come up with is this little aluminium frame. I didn't have to pay for any of this build, which was part of the stipulation for making it. This framework actually came from a load of goods I bought at auction earlier on in the year from a hydroponic and aquaponic store. They shut down, and this was some of the stuff they used to make frames for their small little mini balcony aquaponics system. So I've used some of this to create a bit of a frame that we can attach to some star pickets. Now I haven't gone with extra long star pickets, mainly because the ground is going to be fairly soft here, and I would like these. They'll probably end up going in around about 800 mil, or a bit under, probably 2.5-ish foot, somewhere around there. Don't know my imperial that well, but it'll be enough stability that we can attach the legs of this frame onto, and then drape some mesh netting over the top. So after a bit of a false start, we're right to go. Now the first thing we need to do is put the stakes in that this will be connected to. So we need the stakes roughly 850 or 33.5 inches apart. Where we're thinking about setting it up is just in this little section here. There is a little bit of a shelf before the water drops off down to the depths. We actually have no idea how deep this pond is. So just to give you some idea, I'm thinking about putting the posts about there. So we're looking at a depth when the dam is full, as it is at the moment, of roughly round about 11 inches or 28 centimeters, or 280 mils if you want to get finicky. So I suppose the first thing to do is stick a stake in. Yes.
Give it a go.
Can I have the mallet, please?
Absolutely.
Cheers. So I'm going to put a flat angle towards the rear, and as suspected, this is going in very easily. And we want it to go to a depth of, which I probably should have checked earlier, I think it's around about 650. We're looking at, oh no, around about 690 or 27 inches. Okay, so I've got a little bit further to go. Probably should have worn gumboots for this. There we go. Give it one more for good luck. So now we have to come along 850 this way. Thank you, sir. So we're looking at round about there. Yeah, round about there looks good enough. Cheers. Thanking you. They looking square and straight?
Looking good.
Looking good. And of course it's had to start to rain. Nice and wet. Hopefully the shower passes. I can't tell because we get no phone reception here and can't log on to Bomb. Happy days! That little fish just skipped. See him?
Nope, missed it.
Oh, yeah, see him? They're skipping
it.
along. Cool. So what we're up to now is just putting a couple of bottles on the base. I was planning on putting a whole heap on there, but I've decided I'm going to cut it down to around about 5. So 2 on each end and 1 in the center. And then we'll just come back and adjust the weight of the raft as needed by taking out plants or whatever. I just want that little bit of extra buoyancy, so there is an air gap between the roots and the top of the water, just because we don't know the dissolved oxygen content of the water in this dam, even though it has a large surface area. I'm not convinced there's going to be enough. Some people have suggested there would be. I'll try it this way first and we'll see how we go. So what we're basically going to do is just, I don't know, I think it's probably something like that. Put 2 holes into the styrofoam gently so we don't wreck it. One there and one there. Put a zip tie through first, then under, and under this thin section of the bottle. Spin it around a little bit. There we go. Like such. And I think that's pretty much all going to be enough to keep it in place. And some of these other ones I may need too, because they're, oh no, we might be able to get away with using some of the ridges. But same deal here, through there and there. We actually had to go into Bundaberg and get longer zip ties because the one I had were a little bit too short. Try and get around, there's a little bit of a, might be a bit hard for you to see on camera, but there's a little bit of a divot there. Just trying to put the zip tie through that. And I don't think that's going to move. And of course, make sure the lids are done up. Did you want to whack one in the center there?
Yeah.
Maybe put a hole there and there.
I'll do.
Just sort of screw it a bit there. I'll lift him up for you.
Cheers.
And we'll go up the other end and do the other two. Now, a lot of people might think this is a little bit of overkill, but just prefer to be a little bit over the top and nip any issues with root rot in the bud first before we get into it. So there we go. Now the maiden voyage, and we're going to see that's going to sit far too high off the water, I think. But I don't think that's going to be a big problem because the roots of these plants are fairly long. What I'm going to do is actually thin these out and put the grow grip up as far as I can, push it through a little bit just to make sure that we do have water contact with the roots, and obviously, as I said, thin them out. There are a few bugs on these guys, but I did go around and squish them all previously, so we should be right to go with this lot now. Helps if you press record, apparently. So we'll go through this again. Now what I'm doing is I'm selecting the best looking wombok out of all of these guys, and I'm trimming the others off, just pulling them off like this. And what we want is, keep those guys. I'm putting them in the center row here. I want 6. So what I'm doing is I'm putting the grow grip up fairly high, so we have some nice tail roots going through. I'll put him in here so it's easier for you to see, and he just goes down through there into the hole, and that little seedling grow grip just gets pushed down a little bit further. It grips onto the side nicely, and that should give us some contact with the water. The roots do only just make it past the bottles, so the idea Hanu came up with, and myself, was to put a couple of rocks on here just to sink it down a little bit first, just so they have better contact with the water. So on this side here, we're just going to have 3 bok choy on the outside and 3 bok choy on the outside, mainly because I left these guys far too long in the grow cell and the roots are all intertwined. So what we're going to do is just trim down to the best 2 out of every one, and yeah, just leave 2 growing in every cell, and I'll come down here in a little while, and if I have to, I'll knock them back to 1 cell each. Do you want to have a crack at that?
Give it a go.
Give it a go.
Never done it before, so.
Okay, so with this one here, what we're looking at is all those dead leaves there. See, I just do these things and I don't think about explaining, which is weird because that's what my videos are about. But anyway, so we're looking there, there's a bit of damage on those 2 there, just pest damage. And their leaves are looking a bit dodgy. Same with those ones. So I think what I would do is I would keep this one and get rid of those 2.
Okay.
So if you just want to nip them off with your fingernail, just down near the base, just we're trying to break them off there. That will kill these ones, but the root mass won't be destroyed. And then all you need to do is put them in that end cell up there. Yep. Just pull it out, open her up. Yeah, above the roots like that. Just yeah, like about that? 1 centimetre, or yeah, about 1 centimetre, just under 1/4 of an inch. Yep. Yep. And squeeze it together and pop him in the raft.
Beautiful.
And I will try and find 4 more wombok. Pull him out.
So we're looking for pest damage? Yeah,
pest damage. Try, if there's anything that's severely pest damaged, get rid of it. And if it's just a little bit pest damaged, it can make the grade. I'm just going to pop these rocks on here. Probably up more towards the bottles. Yeah, and that has lowered it a little bit. Very scientific, of course, as are all my builds. Now, the mooring. Now, the mooring on this will be fairly easy. So I'm running the zip ties through some holes on the post that you can't see. No, I'm not, because I bought fat zip ties and I left the thin ones up at the house, didn't I? Could you pass me, there's a length of small thin wire and the pliers, and I'll make some loops. As like a few things from earlier today, this hasn't all gone to plan. I was hoping that I could just moor this with some zip ties straight through, but the zip ties are too big to go through the holes, so I'm just going to put some wire loops on here. Zip tie through, up through the base, and the same on the other side. Now these will be easy to pull in and out because we can either undo the wire. These zip ties have got some nice large tabs that you can depress and undo them. The only problem I can foresee happening is the raft drifting side to side a little bit, but hopefully if we do these up tight enough, I will keep it facing out fairly squarely. What do you reckon, Ahanu?
I think it looks good.
Looks good. So there we go. We've planted some plants.
Yeah.
Ooh, we're aquaponicking. Now, just to show you quickly, this structure here, we had a few issues with it this morning. Basically, if I can get down here, we were planning on just strapping it on like this, but as you can see, it's sort of, yeah, doesn't look like it's going to be too structurally sound that way. So what we've decided to do is to counterlever it a bit. We've drilled some holes in it up the top there, some holes down the bottom, and we're going to attach it to the star pickets like this, so it stays, yeah, just counterlevered so it sticks out a little bit better. But before we put that out, we need to wrap it in some netting. That little rock could go a little bit further forward, you know. Ahanu and I made the executive decision to swap out the front rock because it was a little bit too much. So we've got this other one on there. Now, I think it needs to go out a little bit further. There we go. I think that will do it. But anyway, now it's time to work out the cover. I have a feeling we don't have enough of this blue netting, only because went to film it before and we saw we didn't. So I've run up the house and I've grabbed some of the veggie net from our old aquaponics system. And I'm thinking what we could do, as this is pretty ratty-tatty, maybe do something like this. Half of this down this way, and this half here down the front over there, like so. Because what we're trying to do is mainly discourage possums and ducks from getting in there, and possibly turtles as well, because we know we have turtles in the area. And this last bit of insect netting can go towards the back here like this. Where do you reckon we should start? The blue netting or the...
I reckon the blue netting would
blue
give
netting?
us most problems.
Most problems? We're right to zip tie.
All right.
You ready?
Let's give it a go.
Give it a go. So at this point we're ready to wire the frame on. We're just wiring it on very loosely down the bottom, just so we've got a bit of a pivot point, and then bringing the frame up to the top of the star pickets and wiring that on nice and securely, and then we can go back and just wire the base ones on nice and tight, so she's all nice and firmly attached to the pickets.
Job well done.
Job well done. I'm thinking we may have some issue with the wind blowing it in to a degree, but I think we're just going to play it by ear. It's looking pretty rough and ugly with zip ties and mismatching netting, but hey, it was free pretty much. There is a bit of an opening down the front there. Maybe should have zip tied that shut. But anyway, we will see how it goes. So thank you very much, Ahanu.
Very welcome.
He's been great. He came up for a stay with Maya, and he's urged me to knock off a few jobs that I've been procrastinating about, helping tidy up the shed, and we're working on the tractor to get it going. But This was the one I really wanted to get done because a lot of folks have been saying, where's the aquaponics? Well, here it is, folks. This is what I'm capable of at the moment, using all recycled bits and pieces and stuff we had on hand. As to whether it grows successfully, we'll find out. There you go, Pondponics. I'm pretty chuffed with the way it's turned out. If you'd like to see more of these videos, do subscribe to the channel. There will be more aquaponic videos as well as the farm videos coming. Before we go, also would like to thank those awesome folks who are supporting us on the Farm Your Own Yard membership page or supporters community, and also the YouTube membership program. Really do appreciate the support. We've already had some very, very generous donations to help us get a pond pump or a firefighter pump so we can get water up to the house and then start a true aquaponics system. And I've also been sussing out ways to clear off a track so I can go get some sand from the creek so we can set up a couple of sand beds in the first system. Just quickly before I go, I do have a sale on all our nutcrackers and a $5 off all the other goods on our website. There's a couple of codes you can use, and also our Backyard Aquaponics guide. All you have to do is follow the link down below. There'll be two, one to our site and one to the guide site. And yeah, use the code and get $5 off any of your orders you place there, or the Online Aquaponics guide, giving you 25% off the guide. But anyway, I'll stop rabbiting on. I do hope you're all well and happy, and hopefully Bianca, myself and Jack will catch you next video. Cheers all, happy growing.